You are watching Xirtus.
There seems to be a thread with, people always say, oh, well, there's no UFOs anywhere else in the world that we see except for like in the Americas. I mean, there's a couple cases in Brazil and around Argentina actually.
Well, then the
And
celestial phenomenon over Nuremberg. So there's just something about places the Germans have been too. Because look at these pictures of the 1560s, and they have, what do they have? They have these balls, and then they have balls that are stretched out into these cigars, and then the cigars are actually shooting balls out of the cigars. It's even more accurate or vivid or detailed than most of the things we're getting from Roswell or from UFO disclosure today. Because this is tying all of it together, right? It's crazy.
Sure, right? It's like
are.
it goes back so far back.
Well, I've always told people, like, if you're relying on the government in these hearings to bring you the truth or to tell you the truth, then
How's that
you've
been
already
working out
lost.
for you?
Yeah, it's not going to work out. That's not going to work out. Those people are freaking clueless. As we saw recently in the JFK hearings, the lady didn't even know Oliver Stone wasn't, Roger Stone. So,
Yeah, you need new solutions. You can't use the old tactics to solve the problems that were the same
Lou
tactics that made the problems.
The Pentagon, what was it? An information agent special or what, like, department? Like, it's so insane that people have faith in government agents and information operation agents.
yeah, it's so revealing that, time after time, it just comes out that all these people who are tasked with investigating the government turn out to be, involved with the cover-ups and stuff. As we've done a lot on the Kennedy assassination, and I've been deep diving this and just absorbing everything I can on it. Also, maybe before we get into that, whatever happened to that Russian spy that was arrested in Florida with the radar kind of? He had a dish kind of gun that was in a backpack type of weapon. He was basically blasting people, Havana syndrome, and they had this car chase. They were going to pull him over, and this guy like ran, and they didn't know why he ran, but he had this backpack with all this stuff in it.
Oh, I can't believe this
I've
ended
never
up on
seen
the
this.
news. This is crazy.
You never seen this or heard about this?
No,
No,
of
there
course
is
not.
this story, isn't there?
And he's
Wow.
trying to. We never really get a look at the device, because I've been trying to like FOIA the arrest records or anything. If it's all classified, they won't let you look at this. But this was the guy that was arrested, and he had this. They had this backpack with all, obviously some classified stuff that he wasn't. He was, and they suspect him of targeting Americans. They had the whole 60 Minutes thing on this. You guys check it out.
Yeah. Also, we're so a lot of people say that Hitler had to leave Argentina because too many Italian communists and the Catholic Church, so he ended up in Paraguay. So then there is all these stories about Paraguayan UFOs over San Bernardino, and so there's a lot of pictures of UFOs from San Bernardino, and they call them OVNIs, OVNIs, right? Here's like another example right over Asuncion. You can see, some of the pictures there. Not incredible, because this is the thing. Like, it's really bass backwards in some parts of Paraguay. I mean, it's one of my favorite places in the world, but it's not a place that has like a lot of technology or people that are paying attention to stuff like that. So if they catch like one photo, you're lucky. And for the most part, it's like the CIA and the Peace Corps and the Freemasons are keeping that place going. But yeah, if you look into OVNIs in 2009, 2021, there's just all of these pictures of cigar-shaped crafts and of fast-moving lights. And there's a whole thing with the U.S. Space Force investigating in Paraguay and San Bernardino in 2021. There's a lot of different things about that, which I think are interesting, just because Paraguay is where everyone goes to make a deal. If the North Korean dictator wants to drink scotch from any country that's embargoed North Korea from buying scotch, he has to buy it through Paraguay. Paraguay is the wash for, if you want to buy Cuban cigars, or if you want, if any country that's not allowed to do a deal directly through each other, they use Paraguay, and Paraguay is a great moneymaker for the Bush family and people like it for that reason. So it's the craziest people. There's no extradition out of Paraguay. Another reason why Merkel has her property there. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to blow it up too big because I love that place. But yeah, it's like, yeah, it's
Sounds
kind of
like we
a
need a trip to Paraguay and a private property.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Most of it is private property. That's what's crazy, you know. Like, oh, I remember one time I'm in the middle of Paraguay, in the middle of like the mud and nowhere on a bus, and I drive by a giant warehouse the size of an airport that has hundreds of Hummers and Rolls Royces and fancy cars just coming out of the thing, and they're being brought in and out. And it's like, what is this? Like, there's no roads here. Who wants these fancy? Like, what's even happening? But they're probably they bring them through there and they sell them to, like, you know, North Korea again, like places where they're not allowed to buy them. That's usually what it's for.
Wow,
it's a great place. It really is. They had a war called the Triple Alliance War, where 99% of the population of Paraguay was annihilated, genocided, completely wiped out. And at that time, Paraguay had 99% literacy rating. Women and men could vote. It was the Jesuit Republic, right? And so everyone in Paraguay were pretty much intelligent, educated, university students, people with interest in astronomy. So if you look into it, it's pretty crazy what happened to Paraguay. And it was just essentially erased, replaced with Alfredo Stroessner's dictatorship that the CIA controlled up until they just cooed him out, because they realized he had like two sons that were going to take over. One was gay and the other was super into cocaine. I mean, they might have both been both, but, you know, like that was the way they thought of them at the time. And then no one really liked that. So the CIA just pushed them out and created their little, the new guy, the new president of Paraguay bought his sister the new guy owned a soda company that took over Coca-Cola's bottling plant called Pulp. So Pulp, just like a Coca-Cola, like syrup company, runs the country. And then he bought the newspaper for his sister. You know, it's genius. It's freaking genius. It's a great place.
I mean, we look at the stuff that the CIA's done. It's just remarkably genius. I was looking into Michael Schellenberger, you know, recently, because, you know, something about that guy just never doesn't pass the sniff test. You know what I mean?
No.
He looks like a character from Planet of the Apes. I know Roseanne got in trouble for saying that, but I think it's still true.
No, but this guy literally, if you don't know who he is, he works as this media guy who's anti-censorship apparently, and which is a joke.
I met him a couple of times at Timcast. He is from California, in like he's like from San Francisco, right? Yeah.
You've met him at Timcast, huh?
Yeah.
He like ran this whole hearing, the last UFO hearing with Jeremy Corbell. It was like him and Jeremy Corbell. And then Jeremy Corbell's even accusing him of being an agent.
Oh my! What?
Which is like, if Corbell accuses you of being an agent, then you gotta have problems.
Yikes.
But yeah. So Michael Schellenberger, apparently
he went to UCSC. He went to University of California, Santa Cruz.
His father was CIA. You know that?
Surprise!
Surprise! Amazing. Daddy CIA. You know, there's a lot of these career CIA people that have children who they change the last name, and then they end up in media. But this guy has.
And I'm not saying I hate him or anything like that, by the way.
Say yes to an interview and secretly invite Jeremy.
Yes, get him on, man. I would love to, know more about this guy, but it doesn't tell any, about his personal life. It doesn't tell, it doesn't say anything about his father on here on the Wikipedia article, which is, very suspicious. But you look into it and who his dad is. He's CIA.
Well, he's like one of the few conservatives in California, so
he's fake. He's fake. He's manufactured. You understand that these people come out of the woodwork fully formed on the media scene. Like,
I have to talk about gender dysphoria and aliens.
Yes.
Exactly. Look at those eyes. It's like this blank, dark stare. Is there even pupil? Is there even a soul? He's just been completely programmed by the look.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Come on, man. I can't.
Oh, man. Yeah,
As a
exactly.
Twitter
Oh,
file journalist, interesting. So a
interesting.
gatekeeper.
Yeah. Well, again, when we find out, we're this is like the day of revelations, because the used to be like these people, these operatives were able to work for like decades before people like caught on. You know, we just recently realized that, you know, Priscilla McMillan, all right, who wound up in Russia to interview Lee Harvey Oswald when he went to Russia, and then winds up in Dallas befriending Marina Oswald, and becoming best friends with Marina, and writing her autobiography. You know, becoming this intermediary. But it turns out that she was though she denied it multiple times when asked in interviews. We got the documents now in the JFK files release that show that she was a CIA paid in a witting collaborator for the CIA. Witting means you know that you're working for the CIA and you're publishing propaganda. And this is like official literature, which was, you know, set the biography. People want to know about Lee Harvey Oswald, and this like was basically them, the CIA, creating a legend for Lee Harvey Oswald for the public to eat up and believe. And they silenced, you know, they silenced everybody.
There is a video, I'm trying to find it, but Michael Schellenberger made a video, and it was like, the child sacrificing and castration cult scares me more than the CIA. That was literally one of his videos. I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Dude, the CIA scare me. One of the things I've been digging into is the signal men, right? There was this umbrella man, and he's standing right next to, he was this dark complected man who's right there by the presidential limousine. He was waving up until a second before this is right before the shot that hit JFK in the throat is fired. This is right about when it's fired, because this is Abraham Zapruder, right? And this is the Stemmons Freeway sign. So we know from the Zapruder film that as soon as you know, they emerge from behind the Stemmons Freeway sign, we can see the edge of the umbrella man's umbrella, and this man. And these two characters are extremely suspicious, as are the three yellow markings where the shots. There are three yellow markings on the curb painted the night before the assassination. Beverly Oliver was standing right on top
The
of
kill
one,
zone.
and
They
got
literally painted
painted.
the kill zone on
They
them.
literally painted it for the timing of the shots. They painted for there to be a kill zone. And this guy sits down immediately after the motorcade goes by and the shots were fired. This guy just sits down, and he's fiddling with something. Look at, he's not just sitting down; he's sitting down and fiddling with both arms behind his back in this photo. I don't know if you can see that, but he's got both of his arms behind his back, fiddling with something behind his back, tucked into his back. The other pictures we have of this guy that I've put together, he sits down right next to the umbrella man, who folds up in his umbrella and they sit down calmly and just look at the situation. This guy's looking over towards the grassy knoll. This guy's looking at all the cops and everyone coming up on Houston and Elm Street, following the motorcade, right? I've been doing a deep dive into who these guys are, these tramps and whatnot, because, you know, the Wikipedia article says that Tramp A is Dan Carswell, but Dan Carswell was actually, if you look up the whole history of Dan Carswell in the CIA, that was a cover name that David Lamar Christ used when he got arrested in Cuba and spent 3 years in a Cuban prison. And those documents came out in the JFK files too. So anyone in the mainstream media tells you nothing's in there and it's all boring stuff, just don't understand jack about any of it.